Shout out to my 2 subscribers. Hope you're doing well. Thank you for the newest one for subscribing. I think your name is Friendzone something. I don't know, but in any case, if you're watching, thank you for subscribing, and I appreciate the fact that you find value in my perspective. I wanted to talk today about entitlement. I wanted to talk about faith, frustration, and the grievances sometimes we might have to address to either God, source, whatever concept you believe in, the creative process, whatever feels, adequate to your conception of a higher power. Shout out to Meditate with Mandy as well, because I think I've stumbled upon a video something like 4 to 3 months ago where she was talking about the entitlement nervous system. And since I've stumbled upon a video, entitlement has been a very in and out topic in my life, because the funny thing was, I've never really considered myself as much of an entitled person, because I would always be the type of person to put other people's needs before mine. That's kind of how I've been raised. That's kind of how a lot of people in my family have been raised. It's kind of how the people who raised me have been raised, and it's a pattern that has kind of created this mirror effect of, if you're in a position where you place other people's needs and wants before your own, and you never really have time or mental space or energy for yourself, you kind of think, well, I can't exactly be entitled to anything because I'm used to people not necessarily mirroring the energy that I'm putting in, or I'm kind of used to actually people being entitled to my time and my presence and my energy and my money sometimes even. So I thought I couldn't really, be, I couldn't be like that. I couldn't be how I would describe the people around me. I could never kind of mirror this kind of behaviors, because I thought I was actually trying to keep myself away from these behaviors. But the subconscious runs very deep, and especially when it comes to being raised, your formative years, I would say, because as an adult now, it's kind of, you have to unlearn and relearn. You're kind of in this reparenting process of, okay, so this is probably not something I want to take on board for the rest of my life, for where I'm going. And as I started rediscovering faith, and I've had a few significant breakthroughs over the past year, I would say. It's been a very intense year of shadow work, of purging, of honesty, of coming back to myself, basically, and of rebuilding my life with faith as a foundation. What did this past few months have shown me is, like, I don't really know shit about myself. I don't know myself as well as I think I do, and I certainly do not know myself as well as God knows me, or I know myself, like I, in the sense of my higher self, my higher power. It knows me, my essence knows me much better than my mind can like conceptualize. And I realized I had kind of the same entitlement relationship with faith and with God as a lot of people from, as I felt a lot of people from my surroundings had with me. Because I don't think I've ever been as obedient. I've ditched like so many things. I've reclaimed my attention. I've reclaimed my boundaries. I've reclaimed so many areas of my authenticity, and it's cost me relationships with people. It's cost me, some would say, business opportunities. It's cost me so many different things over the years, and it's cost me also my attachment to a lot of things in the external world. So it's been a season of building, but it's also been a season of isolation and frustration and a lot of purging, as I said earlier. And I really started to rely on God first, and I'm in the process of learning to rest. I'm in the process of learning to trust, to receive, to not be so attached to the outcome, and balancing that with the genuine desires and wants and objectives that I would have for my life. And it's a daily practice and it's a lifestyle now. But I've been in a position where I was frustrated with God, because I was like, I've been doing all of this, I've been having the difficult conversations. I've been ditching the addictions. I've been consistent. I've been speaking up more. And I'm still not seeing an external manifestation of all the work that I've been putting in. And during these times, I couldn't really identify them as an opportunity to strengthen my faith, to an invitation from God to rely onto Him, it, she, who knows, even more. Because now that I kind of understand the process, most of my blessings, most of my transformation actually comes from within, actually comes from the Spirit. But I wasn't exactly looking inside as kind of a sign of things progressing. I was always waiting for that external breakthrough, that external opportunity, someone to just come and magically drop 5,000 on my account. And if it happens, it's welcome. But if it happens, it's probably gonna be because of how I've kind of aligned myself for these things to actually get to me, for these opportunities to actually find me. And my frustration had to do with the fact that I didn't realize that I was being rebuilt from the inside. Because when you're actually relying on God for your transformation, you don't want it to be, you want it to be perennial. You don't want it to be inconsistent, where it's like, you can have this one time, and then once this is stripped away from you, or it changes, or circumstances are different, you don't have any ground to stand on. And I think it's because I was kind of looking at God the same way entitled people look at the people around them. Well, I've done this for you, or I have this relationship with you, and we go so far back. It's kind of, you owe me what I've asked for, you owe me what I've desired. Not realizing I was being given everything that I desired, not through external circumstances, but through the person that I'm currently becoming, through the frequency that I'm kind of getting, promoted to, or actually coming back to, because I feel like I remember this energy. I remember it. It feels very pure. It feels like my childhood. But I didn't have, back in my childhood, so many external factors to take into account. So now it's like, you've done all of this for so long, factoring in the bills, the this, the that, the opinions and whatnot, and you're coming back to a place where it's like, it's very freeing, but at the same time, it's very confusing, because you're almost not believing that this could be the only thing you need. That you yourself, through who you're becoming, are going to be the pillar of your experience. And this is something you can take wherever you're going. And it's put me in a place of frustration more than one time. And I remember very, very vividly, especially with addiction, I've struggled for more than, like, we're coming up to probably 13 years now. I'm better now, but 13? No, it started when I was 12. I'm about to be 29. So that's even worse. So like 17 years, bro. 17 years. Pornography, like, it's been hard, It's been a real struggle, and I want to be transparent with it, because if anybody else is dealing with it, then hopefully you can take some inspiration from my testimony and my evolution. But yeah, pornography was kind of, I didn't realize how it affected my relationship with myself, with God, with women, especially because it was filling the void for connection. It was filling the void for intimacy. And I didn't realize that in my behavior, it almost made me entitled to the affection or to the attention of the woman that I desired. And I used to be very bitter about it when it didn't turn out the way I expected. I used to feel kind of beaten down. I used to feel like, I'm not good enough for you, all type of shit. And then I've gotten into a relationship, long relationship, that's taught me so much about personal boundaries, about communication, about respect, about self-reflection as well. But I've never really realized that the lessons that I was actually getting from interpersonal relationships, I could also take into my relationship with God, and not being too entitled to, not to God's attention, but to the results that I'm kind of expecting based on my inputs, thinking because I do this, that, this specific thing is how a blessing should manifest into my life. And then being frustrated when it's not happening, not realizing that I'm actually being transformed and rewarded with the person I'm actually becoming, which is something absolutely invaluable, because it means regardless of the circumstances, I'm still gonna be the same person. I'm still, well, not the same person because you're always growing, but it's like I'm still gonna be in a position where I have a base to go back to if I have to start over. And this base is going to be my relationship with God. It's going to be from within. It's going to be the resilience I know I possess. The resources, the social skill, the composure. I'm a much less reactive person now. That, all of these addictions are that have detached from all of this. That have detached from the need of validation, that I've detached from emotionally playing video games. I'm not saying these things are bad per se, but it's like you always have to wonder, what role do they play in your psyche? What void do they come to fill, if they actually come to fill a void? And when it comes to video games, I've been playing video games my entire life, since I was 5. When it comes to pornography, unfortunately, I grew up in an environment where pornography was there even when I wasn't addicted to it, because my stepfather used to have like magazines and even posters of naked women, and he would just have them laying around. It's something I would be very exposed to. So the first time I got my fucking computer in my room, it was there, and I was kind of already exposed to it, and I was kind of already curious about it. So when that first, you were on the internet, like AdBlock didn't exist back then, so it was like you had so many pop-ups and websites, and it was just like, one thing led to another. 17 years later, I've only just, compared to the actual 17 years where I've actually been fighting it. It's not been for the lack of trying, especially the last 5 years. It's been streaks of on and off, not doing it for like 4 months, and then getting sucked back into the habit, or actually choosing to, even as I was in a relationship, even as I was dating. And now that I'm kind of on the other side of it, now that I've built back this relationship with God, and now that I'm being put in position where every day I'm realizing, okay, so this was there and I had no idea. And me being shown that this was there is a result of the same frustration that I actually directed at God, not realizing the entire process is actually getting me out of it, getting me out of thinking that these external things, these things that are responsible, that are kind of the objects of my frustrations, are never going to fill the void, are never going to make a difference, are never going to help me grow as much as faith, and actually relying on faith as a foundation is going to. So yeah, I didn't really know where I wanted to go with this. I just wanted to testify, Hopefully you get something from it. It's like, if I had to sum it up in one sentence, your frustration at God might actually be the very process that makes you realize you're changing, that makes you realize you're becoming someone else. And when you feel frustrated, I would advise you to actually look at the relationship you have with the object of your frustration and measure it to the relationship you have to what you're trying to make your baseline, basically, your starting point. So yeah, hopefully you get something from it. I'm sending you so much love, support, whatever you need. And yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Take care.